This week on the Droids, we're playing a little catch-up. We're talking about the Obi Wan Kenobi casting news that came out, the full series cast that was announced, Ewan McGregor's beard is in full effect, and chapters 29 through 33 of The Light of the Jedi, all this week on the Droids. Welcome back to the Droids You're Looking For, a Star Wars podcast. Alongside Chris and Ryan, I am Mike. Pleased to be back with you. Guys, we missed a week, and anytime I miss a week, I feel like I'm really missing a part of my soul. Yeah. And to get that piece back together here this week feels really wonderful, and thank you for doing that for me, gentlemen.
Hey, we are the Republic.
We're all the Republic,
all
and
the Republic.
we feel the weight of responsibility for you, Mike. And also, we should clarify that Ewan McGregor's beard has been in full effect and seen on his face.
Yeah.
It's not autonomous.
We're in it now.
How many different shows have had a possessed toupee of some kind? Is it that kind of scenario you envisioned that I was describing? Like a beard that's like running across the floor?
The classic old possessed toupee.
Yeah.
Right?
Bit,
It's a classic trope.
So it's like season 4, episode 3 of every sitcom.
It's always like a vaudeville actor, too. It like can play the piano and stuff.
You know what I'm thinking of? I know what I'm thinking of. It's the hair that Homer gets in The Simpsons that he takes. And it's from, what's his name? From the criminal, the standard criminal in every episode.
Fat Tony?
Snake? Is it Snake?
Oh, Snake.
Sideshow Bob?
Yeah.
Oh, he is a criminal. Well, no, he was framed. He was framed.
Whole Halloween episode where the hair invades his brain.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm thinking of that. So Ewan's beard can run around the floor like that.
That'll do it for the droids you're looking for.
Well, we're back. We're firing on all cylinders, as you can tell. But
we
we're
have
excited to talk
We have no Sams here. Neither new
no
Sam nor
Sams.
old Sam.
Yeah.
or
just regular Sam. A third possible Sam that's
I'm sure we can find regular Sam somewhere out there.
Oh, I could get you another Sam by 3 o'clock.
I could get you a ham sandwich.
Chris has been talking about big plans to open a sandwich shop. He's really got sandwiches on the brain.
Don't worry about it. The listeners will find out. Maybe the little BOGO will happen for our special listeners.
I got to say, you did inspire me, and I did get a big sandwich for dinner.
Hey, see? Marketing.
And I said, this is for you, Chris.
Who'd you say that to?
My wife said, who are you talking to?
She's like, are you okay, Ryan?
Have you done Star Wars sandwiches? Like, the Jabba the Footlong?
No.
Like that. I wasn't allowed to see that movie as a kid.
What
My
is
parents
that?
said it wasn't Star Wars related.
What is that, eggplant?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Too much innuendo.
I
mean, there's got to be like what?
Oh, yeah. Can't even
Obi
say
Rap
eggplant.
Kenobi?
Obi Rap Kenobi.
I don't know.
Are you making this up?
Yeah, well, I just figured that if you're opening a sandwich stand, you would create some Star Wars sandwiches.
I'm just stuck trying to think.
I know every pun has escaped me. I was trying to think of something with like fire toasted.
I'm trying to fit Capicola into something.
Yeah.
I mean,
that'll do it.
We're back in rare form. Well, why don't we get into the news, to help us focus here? Because sandwiches, we'll just come back to it. I think each of us will blurt one out throughout the next course of the 40 or 50 minutes of this. So just look forward to that as we talk more sandwiches throughout this episode. But let's talk about the Obi Wan Kenobi news. Of course, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, DroidsPod on YouTube, play through Fallen Order. You know the drill, droidspod@gmail.com. Let us know what you think of the casting. We'd love to hear what your thoughts are on the Obi Wan Kenobi casting. But when this came out, and it's been a week or two, so we've had some time to sit on it, we knew some info. We knew that Hayden Christensen was coming back. We knew that Indira Varma from Game of Thrones, that had leaked. But then we filled out the rest of the cast. And news that was very exciting was that the return of Joel Edgerton and Bonnie Peace, who would be both as Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru again. Mm-hmm. And then...
And she escaped that cult.
Yeah, I wasn't familiar with that.
The Nexium, she was in that documentary, featured heavily.
Well, I'm very happy for her that she was able to escape and now be back in the Star Wars galactic universe for us.
I mean, that's the dream for all of us, isn't it?
Do you think we have to go down that road? Like, if I join a cult tomorrow, in 8 years, I'll be in a Star Wars?
If that's what it takes, that's what I'll do.
That's what we do.
Well, we're already in a cult. We do a weekly podcast about
Yeah,
Star Wars. I think that's pretty much
We're in
own.
a cult of personality of
Yes.
people who love the droids.
Yeah.
There it is, yeah.
We
Use
should
promo
say
code-
we're not taking cults lightly.
No.
You know, we're sympathetic to people who get pulled into cults.
Yeah.
But I think what was really surprising, because, you know, we knew that Joel Edgerton, Bonnie were both part of Star Wars in the past. But then there was a big drops here, big names that were totally unexpected. Kumail Nanjiani, Rupert Friend, O'Shea Jackson Jr., Sung Kang, who's also Han in the Fast and Furious movies, which it's been a gap in my knowledge. I have not watched all those.
Han is an all-timer. Like, he's a beloved character.
Simone Castle is also in this.
He's the love interest of Gal Gadot's character, Giselle, in the Fast and the Furious franchise.
It. Moses Ingram, who seems to have probably a pretty prominent role. She's the third actress listed behind Ewan and Hayden. And then Benny Safdie, which...
That's
huge. A Safdie in the... I mean, just shocking news to me, because his performance in Good Time... I could easily imagine him in a very interesting Star Wars character.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, whenever it's someone that I'm surprised is cast, I always assume they'll be like a droid or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know? But, you know, we'll see. And that was him. He and Kumail were the biggest surprises for me. Kumail, not because I would be surprised that he was in this. He's like in franchises all the time. He's in the Eternals coming up. So that was surprising to me.
They needed a ripped dude.
Yeah, they knew. He just wasn't on my radar for this at all, just because like you hadn't heard anything. But Benny Safdie was like a true surprise. And then,
it's a real surprise.
And then Joel Edgerton has become so famous at this point that I didn't even put together. Like I obviously know he was Uncle Owen, but when I saw that he was cast, I wasn't like, oh, he's playing Uncle Owen. I just assumed that it was like they were casting him because he's famous and good.
Yeah, I like Googled it. I was like, he's in a Star Wars.
Well, it's like, I mean, like every now and then, like in the Marvel universe, someone will show up later as like a different character because they played someone small earlier. And I thought like maybe it's something like that, but no, he's playing Uncle Owen.
It's like Captain America showed up after he played that other guy in the Marvel movies.
Correct, exactly.
I really hope that Christensen and Safdie are hanging out. I could see Hayden getting some of the Safdie brothers treatment.
Yeah. Oh, or like Ewan.
Or even Ewan.
In the next Safdie brothers movie.
But I think he turned what's his name? Blanking on his name. He was in their movie.
Sandler?
No. Patterson. Patterson. Yeah, Robert Patterson.
Patterson.
I was going to say James Patterson.
James Patterson, the famous writer.
The author. But I feel like Hayden could have the same thing.
I agree. You could play like a crooked accountant who has 24 hours to live.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, he's. I'm not even going to say he's been good. You know what? He understood the assignment in the prequels. Don't pick on Hayden.
No way. Did you watch Little Italy?
Oh my God!
He's in Little Italy.
Not the Little Italy you're thinking of.
Oh,
takes place in Canada. But
it's not just that they shot it in Canada; it's that it takes place.
I
in
had
Canada.
no idea. I'm sure there's Little Italies all over the country and
yeah, but if you're going to name something Little Italy, I don't want to be like New York centric, but it conjures New York.
I think they might have been playing on a theme there a little
when
bit.
Martin Scorsese says that he grew up in Little Italy, no one's like, which one?
I don't think of Toronto.
See, I thought it was the Stanley Tucci series where he's traveling around. Is that what's that one called?
My God, no one's as ripped as Tucci in that movie.
Put Tucci and Kumail at a movie, and boy,
oh my God,
that's gonna have a rating.
The hunk factor would be through the roof.
You're going to need a 4K projector for that.
Wait, have Kumail and Stanley Tucci been in a movie together?
Maybe not.
I don't know. Have they?
I have to ask, and this is a sidetrack. Does
boy.
anybody remember a very early Stanley Tucci movie with Dennis Quaid? I It's a one where he's chased by an alligator and eaten in a leather suit. Anybody remember that?
No, I don't remember that.
He's the alligator's in a leather suit.
No. Stanley Tucci's
By
in a leather
Stanley
suit.
Tucci.
How'd the alligator get in my pajamas?
All right, let's see. Hold on. I need to find this movie.
Yeah.
Undercover Blues. Does anybody remember Undercover Blues?
No.
No,
Am I the
Dennis
only one?
Quaid is in it.
Oh, yeah. It's Dennis Quaid, Kathleen Turner. Fiona Shaw is the evil villain. I don't recall what the purpose of this movie was. I think Fiona Shaw was trying to steal their baby. Oh, no. There are a couple of spies on maternity leave.
Oh, my
and
gosh.
then,
The cover of this movie is priceless.
Stanley Tucci is Muerte, who is a
Fiona,
very
is Fiona
incompetent
Shaw Harry
mugger.
Potter's aunt?
Yes.
Also, the way you're describing this movie versus like what the cover looks like, is this a family movie?
It is a family movie.
Okay, because it's like
they're very much...
Is
they
the alligator
constantly-
moment like funny?
Oh, yeah. It's very funny.
because it's
But they're constantly putting Stanley Tucci's character in like absolute fatal moments where he will die, and they're making a joke out of how he will die.
Gotcha.
And that's especially the alligator moment where he's like
I see.
begging for his life, and Dennis Quaid and Kathleen Turner are like playing with him.
Interesting.
Great family entertainment.
It is a family movie.
Wow, that's
Because the cover is two people. They're all wearing sunglasses. She has a
Yeah.
gun, but they're also holding a baby, and the baby's wearing sunglasses and has an unnatural smile on his face.
Yeah. I think this has got to be something ripe for how did this get made. I don't
Yeah.
know why
There
it
you go.
hasn't already been part of it.
Well, if they're
Anyway,
listening.
I'm a little off track. Back to it.
Hey.
Rupert Friend. I can't recall him other than on Homeland, but I always enjoyed him on Homeland. He seems like
right.
somebody who could really fit in well in Star Wars.
Yeah.
O'Shea Jackson Jr., Ice Cube's son. I really liked him in Ingrid Goes West.
Yes.
If anybody saw that, I really enjoyed him in
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
so
I
I'm
liked him
excited to
too.
see him.
I like him in everything.
in
He's
this.
pretty great. He's also in Godzilla King of the Monsters.
Yeah.
And
then
he's great in Straight Outta Compton.
is there one? I mean, I think we've already kind of answered it with just seeing what Benny Safdie will do. But out of this group, is there one actor or actress you're most excited about? I like wondering if Indira is going to be playing Satine. Is that really exciting to you?
It's exciting to my dog, it seems.
Wow.
Here. Yeah, I mean, to me, it undeniably the most exciting one is Benny Safdie, just to see what he does. And then next it's Kumail. But I am very excited. I mean, I knew that we knew that he was going to be in it, but I'm so excited for to see what Hayden gets to do with a little more freedom with that character, I assume.
Yeah.
Just because, it's kind of known that George is extremely specific about how he wants people to act and the aesthetic of the acting in his movies. So to see Hayden get to open up with that character, I think will be really exciting. But of the new cast, I got to go with Benny Safdie.
Wow.
Chris?
I mean, obviously great to see HC. I don't know. I want to say Kumail too, but I know that's not as interesting. I'll go with O'Shea Jackson Jr. I think I've liked him and everything. I feel like he can bring something to Star Wars I think we probably haven't had in a while. So
that dude is like a charisma machine too.
Yeah.
He's fun to watch.
Yeah.
I will go. I mean, my answers. I'll get to Kumail in a minute and why I want to see him. But it's with Hayden. I feel like we're going to get a little bit of a bait and switch. He's going to be in this, but it's going to be
he's going to be in the mask.
Well, it's not even in the mask. I think they're going to be afraid to do him in the mask without James Earl Jones voicing. And after Rogue One, actually, amazingly, in Rebels, I thought James Earl Jones sounded incredible. I thought he sounded just like he did in the original movies. But in Rogue
getting
One,
up there.
Yeah, in Rogue One, there was something going on because he didn't quite sound right, and I don't know if that was something they did with the audio after the fact.
Same with Lion King. I mean, the man is in his 90s. It's like your vocal vocal cords change. It's just what it is. It's he can't be doing this forever.
Well, and so with that in mind, I don't think we're going to see him in the helmet that much, which makes me feel like it's going to be a lot of flashbacks. And if it's flashbacks, I guess they could take up a good amount of runtime. They could be an episode. They could be a full episode of a flashback. They could pull The Mandalorian and have each one of these actors playing a character that comes in for one episode that he flashes back on.
I have a different theory. I think because if they do flashbacks, they're going to have to do some massive de-aging, which of course they may do. Who knows?
Yeah.
I have a feeling that Obi Wan may be seeing, I don't know if I want to say visions, but like he may be having conversations with an alternate version of Anakin that he is imagining, or like that he's like haunted by.
Cool. He's
I don't
lost
mean that
in the
he's
desert.
like delusional, but it's just kind of like in his mind's eye, he's having conversations with an alternate version of what Anakin could have been.
That's a possibility.
Well, but I
Hire
will say
me,
one thing,
Kathy.
Ryan. Ewan, we know hasn't aged at all. He looks just perfect.
Yeah,
He's
he actually looks
insane.
younger than he did.
Hayden,
that's amazing.
Hayden in this picture, especially the announcement for the show,
Yeah.
he looks the same. I don't think they'd need to de-age him.
There's one angle they could go, and I hope they don't.
Listen, I don't disagree with you much on this podcast, but that's insane.
Really?
He
What?
looks the same.
Hayden?
Have you watched Little
he doesn't-
Italy?
I haven't.
Have you
He looks
seen
good,
it?
don't get me wrong, but it was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know. I'm looking at this picture. He looks pretty similar.
That could be an old picture, though.
It could be an
It's
old
probably
Yeah,
at
it's
the-
like an
It's
actor's
probably at the
headshot.
Little Italy release.
But I will say, and just to get back to my choice on,
Yeah.
sorry, go ahead, Chris. Finish what you're going to say.
It was worthless. Go ahead.
I think this is maybe the way a lot of people feel when they've followed an actor for a long time, or they've listened to a podcast or felt connected. Well, like Kumail Nanjiani, in a way, feels like a friend getting into Star Wars, and obviously, in no way am I a friend of Kumail Nanjiani.
Right.
But I've listened to the Indoor Kids.
Oh, yeah.
I've watched him and seen obviously his directorial debut in The Big Sick, but like knew his
Writing.
story.
He didn't direct that, I should say.
Yeah. What? Sorry. Yes, not directorial debut. But his story and his wife's story.
Yeah.
Listening to the two of them and staying in their podcast, but also the stand up that he had done, Silicon Valley, but just kind of following his career for such a long time and knowing his love for all things in this genre, I'm so excited. And maybe even more recently, just because during the pandemic, listening to two people when I was isolated from other than this group and this podcast, from talking about movies, just not being around people regularly to talk about movies, listening to Kumail Nanjiani and Emily V. Gordon talk about movies on a podcast felt like a deeper connection. And so I can't wait. I can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be
It's
great.
similar to how I felt when I found out that my friend Ryan Johnson was getting $100 million from Netflix.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, $400 million.
You know, a lot of
Well,
people
no,
are not
the
even
deal
talking
was
about
worth $450, but
Yeah.
the report is that he's taking like $100 million is going to him.
Well, that's because that movie only costs like $30 to $40 million.
yeah,
for it.
and it's his IP.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
but the funny thing is that everyone's like, "Oh yeah, Daniel Craig and Ryan Johnson are getting $100 million." So is Ron Bergman. So is his producer.
Yeah.
He's getting $100 million too.
Yeah.
And
no
then they're
one's talking
spending
about
70 each on the movie. Done.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Just Mercy. That's the movie I was trying to think of when I picked O'Shea Jackson Jr. That's what I most recently seen him. Very good movie.
Well, send us your thoughts on the cast. Send us who you're looking forward to seeing. Obviously,
Hey,
we didn't
Mike.
do deep dives on everybody's IMDb's, but
You know where people can send us comments and feedback now?
where?
Oh, wait a second. BOGO alert.
email?
Visit the new Droids Pod website, droidspod.com. That's right. Have you ever wanted to see all of the episodes? I have no pitch. I didn't work on this. This was kind of, I don't have this
Chris,
written down.
I felt like you were saying this, and you're hitting the live button on the website
Yeah, exactly.
right now.
I wanted some music to cue in. Have you ever wanted to visit the Droids Pod on the internet? Well, you can. Yeah, well, you can now. Visit droidspod.com. We made a website. So if you want to go to our website, if you want to go, you know where to go. Go to droidspod.com. You can see what we've done is we've collected some of our episodes. So if you're trying to catch up, we did some of our groupings of the episodes. So if you're following this book, for example, and you don't want the kind of filler episodes we do, we've compiled little apps that you can go and you can just hear all our rewatches, see all our Mandalorian recaps and all that fun stuff. So visit droidspod.com. But there's a sign up for our email list and also a contact form. So it all works. I've tested it.
And go check out. There's some beautiful new artwork from Sam
Yes.
on there.
It
Yes.
is really stunning. We've all joked in the text thread for the droids with Sam that we need, merch with this on it, but we definitely do.
Yeah.
If anything,
yeah.
and QR codes.
You know what you could do though?
On our body.
Go to the website, right-click on an image, save as, make it your phone background. There you go.
All right, done. Doing that. It's a beautiful site, Chris, and you did fantastic work.
We all did it.
Beautiful work with the art here. Ryan and I did absolutely nothing.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I'm not a nerd. So I didn't know how to do any of that stuff.
Visit it. That's all I got. That was. Let's try to think of something witty. That's it. That's what we worked on last week.
It is a really fun way to go through all of what we've done on this podcast.
Yeah.
And really take a look at what you see. I think, we love the Duel of the Fates script breakdown, the Mandalorian recaps. The saga rewatches, interestingly enough, we have not done our Last Jedi because we lost one to a technical error.
Oh, yeah.
So we
that's
need to do
Patreon
a Last Jedi rewatch. Yeah, that's on the Patreon.
Get that on the Patreon.
This whole thing was really to save any of our partners the pain of having to write an obituary in the event of our untimely death. You just say, go to droidspod.com. It'll tell you everything.
Yeah, everything you need to know. Like, what exactly was it? It's like I just couldn't explain to.
Yeah. Who was Ryan?
Yeah.
Go to droidspod.com and listen to the Duel of the Fates 6-part reading.
You can kind of think of it as a memorial if you want.
a living memorial.
A living memorial.
Yeah.
And then keep checking back because we're going to put our own little bios on there. You can learn a little bit more about us and some of our favorite episodes. And most importantly, maybe I should have waited until we had all this done. So you can visit a few times. We'll put our current order, our running order of the saga, what we think it should be. So that could be fun. Maybe we'll do a little tracker to see how it changes over time.
Our rankings, you mean?
Yeah.
Gotcha. I recently, this is, tangential, but it's not unrelated. I recently bought a fix-up guitar, and I was doing writing on the neck. I decided I wanted to write all over the neck, and one of the things I wrote on the neck was, in Roman numerals, my ranking of the Star Wars movies. So that's in ink. I can't undo it. It cannot be changed. It's memorialized on the neck of a guitar right now.
There you go.
And for anybody thinking, geez, that Ryan, he sounds like a cool dude. It's not that cool. It's not that cool. Bro.
Wow. You have a marker?
Yeah. A permanent one, my man.
Whoa. Live bold.
Chris, I just noticed that these tiles animate. Pretty beautiful.
Yes.
I love watching them move
little
around.
accents and things like
He's
that.
in the bathroom. It's kicking in.
Wait a second. Yeah.
I just
That'll
lost that
take
my
all.
walls
That's taking
breathe.
all your information. I could see you now, Mike. That's it. Go there.
Droidspod.com. It's cleaner. It's a lot cleaner than what we've been doing, where we've been. I think what did we have? We had droids you're looking for, pod.com. It was a little too much. And then
there's a lot of hyphens in there.
We've had a lot going on. So droidspod.com, go check it out. Maybe we'll get the merch up there someday. You know, it's something that's in our future. We want to do it.
Also, sign up for that mailing list. I think over time we'll do some mailers. We'll be respectful of everyone's inboxes though. But maybe when we run out of things to say to each other, maybe we can write them down and send them out as a little mail blast or something like that.
That's the way that I can do some stuff when you guys can't join a pod. Wow.
There you go.
All right.
When the pod is out of room, our thoughts will walk the email chain.
All right, let's dive into High Republic, Light of the Jedi, chapters 29 through 33. Chapter 29, we're back with our good buddy, Kevin Tarr. And the thing that I like about this book, there's a lot of it, but there's a lot of setup, and then they do kind of, pay off everything they set up. There's not a lot of waste in this book. They talked about the idea that he would need 50 to 100,000 navi-droids to pull off this mapping of what happened with all the emergences. And then they do it, and they have an entire chapter about it. And it's really interesting and fun to read. And I was, pretty riveted by how this was going and had an idea that the Jedi would step in to save the day and keep the entire system from failing. But it was really well done in kind of watching everything fail on him and his inner monologue as things were going bad. And I enjoyed this chapter a lot.
I like the rain
Yeah.
reveal.
Yes.
It was very atmospheric, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I got to say, Chris and I both started listening to the audiobook as well. And that guy is going for, I wish I had his name, the guy who reads it,
Yeah.
but he's going for it.
It's great. It's great.
really good.
They add some sound effects and stuff into the background too, which is nice for me. No, it's very good. I think this chapter did a really good job of, like, you could have kind of described what was going on in a few seconds. I think movies have this problem where it's hard to make computers exciting. That's why you never see them like use a mouse or like click. It's always the keyboard real intensely kind of thing. So I think there was a lot of that happening in this chapter. But the one detail which I really, really appreciated was like the Jedi made all this rain. And if you're kind of into electronics at any level, you'd be like, well, water and electronics don't really mix. They made a note to say something to the extent of, well, these are waterproof, so don't worry. Like,
Yeah.
it's kind of like, all right, that's a good.
Also, I mean, like, R2 fell into a swamp.
It's true.
And, like, we're all fine with it. They
Yeah.
exist in space, so
Well,
they
this is-
have to kind of
yeah.
be airtight.
Yeah. So
No, that doesn't check out. Never mind.
I believe it.
Well, no, that's like a ship would have to be airtight, but
Yeah.
not a droid.
Right.
That's so stupid.
And that'll do it. But I think I think this is a fun chapter. I agree. The pacing was cool. It was neat to see the Jedi kind of like help technology, not necessarily like, I thought they were going to go into the circuit board for a second, and it was going to be like the first time we saw a Jedi doing that kind of thing.
Yeah. Or that they'd be
But-
like, they don't like droids. Droids are politicians. They can't be trusted.
I just liked how they kept on being like the countdown of the number of Navi-droids that remained.
Right.
And like once
Right.
they hit, what was it, 50,000, then
Yeah.
it was all done for and they weren't going to be able to do anything. They weren't going to have another chance at this. This was one shot, and that was well done in that sense. And the amount of effort that it took from Elzar and Avar to pull this off, and the connection between the two of them, and the unspoken plans, and just how well, you almost get a sense that there could be some sort of romance there for them when they retire from their Jedi ways, but maybe not.
Hey, he sliced.
Jedi's work is never done, though.
No.
He sliced hyperspace. Kevin sliced hyperspace. That should be one of a Star Wars.
Does anyone
story.
else get like really stressed out reading things like this because you just think about like the amount of like fiscal loss?
yeah, exactly. It's like they took everyone's navi-computer.
Well, speaking of a Jedi's work never being done, Porter Engle gets himself a whole chapter of wonderfulness.
Oh yeah.
And it's the next one. We're back on Elfrana, and we have the chase continuing with the Nihil and the Jedi in pursuit. But this is all from Porter Engle's perspective. And I'm curious what you all thought of having a little bit more time with our buddy Porter and his showing the skill set that he brings and almost finding himself on the wrong end of a mistake. Not something you think of from a Jedi.
I liked it.
I'll take that as no one had anything to
How dare you speak about Porter like that? He made no mistake. No, I thought this was cool. It was good to see him like in his element, right? This was kind of harkening back to who was it? Bell, right? Thought that probably didn't think much of him at first, and he was just kind of this old Jedi guy. And now we get to see him in action. It's this kind of the classic pinning up of this kind of character.
Yeah. Also, like, there's like a line where there's like we see him become the one that they're all afraid of, something like
Right,
to that
yeah.
effect, which is cool. It's always rad to like. That's always like a character that works is like the kind of retired assassin sort. Not that a Jedi is an assassin, but you know what I mean. Where it's like they have a skill set, and it's like only people who would be smart enough to know to be afraid of them are terrified of them. And everybody else would underestimate them. I always like stuff like that.
That would be the Nihil. They haven't.
Nihil.
What was it? This chapter where they kind of said the line where like they never really encountered a Jedi, and they didn't quite understand what they could do, so they should have been more afraid, like you said. A lot of Steely action. Now, are those new? Is that another introduced riding animal? Or have
It's a good
Steelies
question. I was not as familiar with the Blurgs, and the Blurgs did exist before the Mandalorian.
Okay.
They were in Clone Wars. They were in some
Gotcha.
other art. I think I have not heard of the Steelies before, but write in droidspot.com, contact us.
Can't they just make it easier and make all of them fathiers?
Yeah, I was gonna say, can we just pick one? Tauntauns, fathiers, why?
Whatever that one in Rise of Skywalker was that was like specifically not a fathier.
It was just a horse.
But I just appreciated the, oh, wait, their brain is not actually located in their head. It's elsewhere in their body, and you could survive a headshot in that way.
Yeah, that's just like cool alien stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Things you don't think of.
Even the Jedi Masters that they don't think of. But I think, I don't know, I kind of just took away from this was, I could dive into an entire story just about any of these individual Jedi. And most of it just seems like, again, the lone Jedi who's off in the frontier, very Western heavy, as we always talk about.
Star Wars is, of course, a Western.
It is, of course, a Western. But we get back to Loudon and Bell a little bit more. It's the mother of the family, the Blythes, is shot by the Nihil, left behind to try to distract them. And when Bell seems like he's going to be left to take her back, then Porter comes in and Loudon and Bell make their way up into space to chase down the rest of the Nihil.
Yeah. Well, save Bell from having a boring afternoon, I guess.
I think we spent enough time with Bell. They're not going to sideline him here.
Yeah, I was. They actually got me for a while. I was like, well, I guess he is a rookie. He should stay back.
Well, wait,
all right,
we
he's
don't see
flying
him
down.
again.
Yeah,
wait a second.
Exactly.
Does anybody know if JJ and Chris Terrio came in to write the end of this book? Because
wait a
then they're
second.
definitely going to sideline him because I
Wait a
believe
second.
Bell
Hold on,
is a minority, so they're going to sideline him.
I just looked in the next chapter. It says Bell was a Palpatine.
Stay here, buddy.
So it was always a story about Lodens and Grey Storms. Great Storms.
Yeah, Bell, you sure you're going to have to check out all those old blueprints of Star Destroyers?
Yeah, I should. You know what? I should stay here, guys. You guys go off. You guys go do it.
It's been 36 hours as Bell waited with Erica.
This book only takes place in 8 hours. We have 7 hours until the big beam
all
goes
that
into
other
the
stuff
sky.
was resolved.
We move on to Chapter 31, Deep Space, the Republic Longbeam, the Arroyo 3, the Adderans, once again, Pika and Josh. And in this case, we're learning a little bit more about Lorna Dean and having some fun here with everybody trying to find the black box of the Legacy Run.
Yeah.
And kind of an interesting exchange between all of them, and also just learning more about who Lorna D is and what her ship's all about and what her Tempest is and how she kind of runs her business.
It's kind of turned into like a Tom Clancy novel now. It's like, we got to find that black box. It's like...
Who was that you were picturing?
It was Tommy Lee Jones.
That was Tommy Lee Jones. Where's the black box? I don't care.
I don't care.
You want the black box so you can have what? Provasic? I think it's the one thing that I get lost in a little bit in this book is there's like a lot of passages of them quickly describing a very complex hierarchy of like military.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I mean, I understand they're not military, but like the Nihil, it's like, I guess it's not that complex, but it's like, this is a cloud. Gosh. They're led by storms.
Yeah.
They're led by like storm cells, which are led by low pressure systems, and that's caused by low barometric pressure. And it's like, oh my god. So it's like it's like the long beams with the vectors with the whatever the else.
But then there's some vectors
the people
that are
leaking oil in their ship, and it smells bad, and the people are blowing up. It's just sometimes it's a little bit of an overload for my old brain.
Yeah. What are you, a Navi-droid hooked up to a bunch of other Navi-droids?
Exactly. What am I, 70,000 Navi-droids?
Is that what the term is, Navi-droid?
What is this, a LAN party? That'll really apply. That'll really get our young audience. But yes, there is like an element that I'm like, I need a diagram.
This felt like one of the learner. This did feel like one of those chapters. Even though it was being read to me, I was like, wait a second. I kept rewinding it.
You kept
Maybe
saying, "What was that? Excuse me, what was that?"
Yeah, they didn't respond.
Well, because you didn't get the audiobook. It's actually being read to you.
Yes, exactly.
You hired someone on...
on the street. They speak through my window.
Yeah. On
6 feet away.
TaskRabbit. You
TaskRabbit.
paid someone to do it.
Just ruining the book for people a chapter at a time.
I mean, there is one monumental moment in this. We do lose a Jedi, right? We lose a Jedi, and not to the overall heroic moment of trying to save a planet, but just in battle. And it's Teamy, isn't it? Or Teamy?
Yes.
Who's taken out by Lorna Dee and her crew of ragged nihil.
That was just before they had like one missile left, too, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I mean, she kind of sacrifices herself to then allow them to get the flight recorder, and this is where, once again, a nihil fails. We've seen a lot of failure by the evil nihil in the last few chapters.
I'll tell you what, these nihil, they're bad news.
I stand by, and I was talking, I think I put this in the text thread. I said to Sam, and I think part of what you talked about, the kind of convoluted power structure of the nihil, and a lot of what we've kind of read before about them kind of just being incompetent, I'm just not seeing them as great villains. It's just not really working for me. And I know we've had this conversation on the podcast already, but it's part of, and maybe this is book one and however many books of High Republic that we're about to get that is part of the adult focused audience. But you just feel like this aching for, all right, where's the Sith? Where's the true dark side force wielders?
Well, but the nihil, they've already established are not going to be like the big bads, right? It's not going to be those plants.
There's
the plants?
Yeah, aren't there like plants, like sentient plants?
In
this isn't
what?
a joke. This is spoken about in like the Light of the Jedi, like the launch event.
oh.
I don't recall that. I remember watching that, but I don't remember it.
But I do understand what you're saying. I
Yeah.
think that the nihil are interesting, although not necessarily like overtly original. I feel like a lot of space things have a group like this.
Yes.
We've already talked about this. It's like the Reavers with Firefly and stuff. But the thing that got weird to me is when who is it? Martian Rowe is the eye, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
When they were like, he is the eye, and you were like, oh, wow, he's the eye. And then there was an interesting thing, but then ultimately deflating, where they're like, but the eye doesn't really mean anything.
It
and
doesn't
can't really
mean
do
much.
anything. And it's just kind of like in name, he's kind of like a producer in name only. And it's like kind of this bureaucratic thing, which is interesting, but like from an archetypal standpoint, it's like, okay, so like, who is the bad guy? If the eye is just kind of this like corporate figurehead who's just kind of this kind of like deflated guy who's like, I can't really do anything, and my dad really couldn't do anything either.
Well,
It's like, okay. And he's like shocking that old lady.
Yeah, well, that was kind of like, other than shocking the old lady
Yeah.
Santeca, Marie Santeca, what horrible things have they done? Like, they're not even that bad. There's nothing
they
that
killed
fearful.
all of those people escaping that mining,
Yeah,
that manufacturing
They
planet.
killed a
it wasn't
Jedi,
that
too.
vicious.
They killed a
think it
Jedi,
was
Mike.
Mike.
I think it's just like kind of the juxtaposition of philosophy of the Jedi at this point. I think we will see a bigger bad kind of take over, and we might even see Martian Rowe kind of probably switch sides or something to a degree. Because like if hyperspace has just been spliced, then his kind of card that he has up his sleeve is useless. So I think like they're going to lose their power pretty quickly here.
Well, it's
My
a matter
name
of,
isn't Martian Rowe anymore. My name is Sheev.
Call me by my new name, Sheev.
But I mean, navi-droids. So
Well, every 3 years your phone gets some battery
you're right.
life increases. Give it
It's
3
gonna
years,
happen.
they'll have that
Yeah,
thing
you're
in the
telling me
size
those
of.
droids don't have planned obsolescence?
Do you know who would be good as Martian Rowe? Lee Pace. Cast him as Martian Rowe.
what, to give him another villain that doesn't really do anything and is just the secondary villain? To
I'm
another villain?
here to cure it.
Exactly.
He is very good looking. I wouldn't mind looking at him, I'll tell you that much.
Give him a role. Put him in Star Wars.
I'll tell you what. I saw him in a play on Broadway, and in the play he got naked, and I've never been so upset to have partial view seats.
Wow.
I was leaning over the people next to me. I had to get a peek.
You got asked to leave.
They said, "Excuse me, sir, you can't sit in my lap." I said, "I'm just trying to get a peek."
Well, these final 2 chapters are relatively short. It's just kind of more of the Nihil trying to escape, getting a sense of whether or not they'll get any support as they make their way, trying to escape Loudon and Bell and the rest of the Jedi who are making their attack, and considering whether or not they're going to throw some of the kids out of the airlock, which is a real... That's, sure.
Yeah,
that
these are the ones you didn't think were that bad, huh?
Yeah, these are the good guys, right, Mike?
They are the good guys.
I mean, I guess as things go, getting thrown out the airlock, there's worse things.
I think so. I mean, this is an adult book, but not that kind of adult book, Ryan.
I think here's a sentence that always got me. It would take time for Zuvler to talk to the other Storms, then they'd have to decide whether to talk to Lorna D.
You know what? All of our lives are full of process and bureaucracy, and even the Nihil have to deal with it. Too.
We are in it.
Yeah, even they have to go through HR.
Yeah.
Got to ride the storm. Ride the storm on the way out.
Ride the storm.
And
Just
then
ride the storm as long as you have... As long as you keep your receipts for all your expenses.
Before we go to 33, the one chapter was a cliffhanger, right? If they found the box or not. Is this correct? Am I
I thought that they had determined that they did find the box because Lorna D and the group were like, well, we failed. And,
I thought in the chapter 33, they kind of reveal it. So that's what caused so much pain. And then...
Oh, yeah. Well, they finally unveiled or were able to watch what the recording was.
Got it. I just thought that was clever.
They captured the emergence that had the flight recorder. Right. And then in chapter 33 is when they actually were able to view it.
See it.
Doesn't Lorna D sound like the name of someone that would sell like prepackaged cakes?
Yes. Frozen cakes.
I could really go for a Lorna D cake right now.
Lorna D chocolate round.
But they wipe up, and this is kind of where we end up, where we're not surprised at all that they see what kind of confirms good old Serge's point of view of the lightning and the ship that was in the hyperspace lane, and that's where it leaves us, as the Sentekas are surprised by this. They said it's impossible, but there it is right in front of them. And now they have to deal with this and figure out how they can stop it from happening again.
Now we're cooking.
And now it's an all-out manhunt for the Nihil.
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of the next path of what they're going to do.
I didn't blow up that ship. I don't care.
Is that your Chancellor Sue as played by Tommy Lee Jones?
Yes, exactly.
I want these Nihil brought to justice. Every last one.
We've got a real good sense of the... I like Star Wars space cats. I love kind of learning about some of the... And I like that they were famous. It's almost like a mark of a villain, though, to have two giant cats next to you.
Oh, it always is.
Yeah.
And we should look out. So you're saying
Lena So is an anagram for Sheev?
Lena So Sheev.
I'm just saying that if you don't want people to think you're a bad guy, maybe get rid of the big cats.
Exactly.
But that pretty much does it for the chapters there. I mean, not that they weren't really compelling chapters. There was some interesting stuff, but we're kind of now getting into the end game, right? We're getting into the players are put into position for what is going to be the finale of this book. So excited to see where it goes in the next few chapters, but we're getting close. I think we've maybe only got another 2 episodes, another 10 chapters that we're going to be reading here, and then we're all done and ready for June. Ready for the next book.
Oh, what is that? What's that sound? Oh, that's our listeners cheering.
Just a reminder that the great podcast Sky Talkers did this all in one episode. They read the book in like a day and then just chatted about it.
What are you trying to say, Ryan? Is that we should
saying that
we're making a meal.
Chapter? We're making a meal.
I can't even listen to it. Like, what happened? The Nihil? No, it's great. It's great. I really like it.
It's really good, yeah.
I do recommend the audiobook if if you're walking down the street or whatever, it's good, but it's something you got to focus on. There's a lot of, it's like anything Star Wars does. It's very high production value.
I feel like I have to listen to a chapter. What is the cost on that though, Chris? Or is
It's about $150.
No, it's $14.99 on that.
Yeah,
I think I've
$14.99.
already bought the book twice, so do I really need to buy it a third time?
You actually need to get it on audio.
It depends on how close you are to recording the pod and how much of the book you've read.
Yeah, right. We could just. Why don't we just play it on why don't we just put it on the podcast? We'll just release that.
Why don't we just do a live commentary over the audiobook?
Yeah.
So this part I really like.
For the first time.
Listen to this.
Yeah, Chris, when is the Patreon being added to the website?
Pretty soon. So just keep visiting that website, and then you'll find it. There'll be a link there. Also, on the website, there's links to all of our channels and stuff, so don't miss out on that playthrough of Fallen Order. There's a link there. Did we say it already? Did you say it, Mike?
Oh, yeah.
We
We
said
did
did.
already.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Mike
Making
is
sure.
taking the same approach with TikTok, which is he did a few. It was the stuff of legend, and then he
That's
disappeared without a
Then he
trace.
disappeared.
Much like the Nihil. The Nihil.
Exactly.
The Nihil.
You gotta leave him wanting more.
Yeah. It's like you end a show when you're on top, which is why this will be the last episode.
So within these 5 chapters, did they not casually mention Yoda? I feel like at least every 5 chapters.
I think they
like,
did.
They
I think
did?
there was a Master Yoda reference.
Okay. It's like, it's very funny. You know when he shows up in this thing, it's going to be mind-blowing.
Oh my god! I feel like we would have already seen all of the people on YouTube crying.
Yeah.
I do think he won't show up till like book 3 or something.
Yeah.
He's not. I don't think he'll be in this
freak out.
book.
I'm just gonna freak out more, Yoda. I do love Yoda.
Well, but young Yoda, jacked Yoda. We're talking about jacked Yoda.
Young ripped
Yeah.
Yoda.
We're talking like sowing his oats Yoda, sowing his Yodas.
Yeah. And that's what we've all wanted to see. That's
Yeah.
why we're here. That's why we're reading the High Republic.
It's always been a
Yeah,
story.
like whenever I met Yoda, like in Empire, and then like even in the prequels, I was like, this is all cool, but like, what about when he was hot?
And then when he's older.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it got weird now. So, I was going to say with the Obi Wan show, I hope we don't just see Hayden Christensen like with this Darth Vader mask off. I hope it's not like, here's what Vader does with his mask off.
I don't know. Have you ever
I
seen
don't
those
know.
comic covers? It's pretty cool.
What's that?
Those comic covers, like where he has his mask off and he's
Yeah.
like kicking ass. It's pretty cool. I'd be fine with it.
All right.
Or like, is he just going to be in a bacta tank being like, ow?
That's it.
Well, we will see how it plays out. I still think it might just be him in the costume waving from a distance. Like that's really all you get.
With the
Say hi to
arrow
your
pointing
father.
that just says Hayden Christensen.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like a young Luke, and Obi-Wan's like, say hi to your father. And he's like, oh.
It's a special thanks to Hayden Christensen in the credits, and you just get a little thumbs up.
Dun-dun, dun-dun, dun-dun.
Well, that is going to do it for this week's edition of the Droids You're Looking For, a Star Wars podcast. We'll be back with chapters 34 through, 38? That's where we're going on the next set of chapters as we press on forward. More news. Bad Batch is on the horizon.
Yeah.
May 4th, Star Wars Day.
Yeah.
How are we celebrating Star Wars Day, guys?
I don't know. I like that 24-hour marathon on droidspod.com.
On
Should we do
Clubhouse.
that?
We could do that.
We just do it.
Clubhouse. We could do something like that on our website.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we
Go to the
should.
website every day. Maybe we'll post something about it.
Yeah.
Well, that will do it for the Droids You're Looking For, a Star Wars podcast.
What they throw.
Annie?
You boys want to go to droidspod.com?